You feel it before you can name it. A heaviness behind the eyes, a throat that feels too small. Your body is telling you something is wrong, and your first instinct is to reach for a pill, call a doctor, search your symptoms online. But for nearly all of human history, none of that existed, and what your ancestors did instead was far stranger and far more effective than you have been told. For 300,000 years, your species got sick. Bacteria invaded, wounds went infected, fever spiked without warning, and yet somehow the human lineage survived. Not because ancient people were tougher, not because disease was rare, but because they had systems, real, functional, surprisingly sophisticated systems for dealing with a body that was failing them. The first thing you have to understand is that ancient healing was not superstition dressed up as medicine. Archaeologist Philippe Charlier, who has spent decades studying ancient human remains, found evidence of bone surgery performed over 5,000 years ago, with survival rates that imply aftercare, wound management, and recovery protocols that actually worked. These were not lucky accidents. These were learned behaviors passed across generations with the same precision your ancestors used to track prey. When someone in an early human group fell ill, the group reorganized around them. This is the part that gets erased from history. Modern sickness is private. You disappear into your home, you close the door, you heal alone. Ancient sickness was communal. Anthropologist Christopher Boehm documented in his research on hunter-gatherer social structures that illness triggered immediate redistribution. The sick person was released from labor, given food priority, and monitored by others. Your body, in crisis, became the group's responsibility, not out of sentiment, out of survival logic. Plants were the first pharmacy. Ethnobotanist Paul Allen Cox spent decades cataloging indigenous medicinal plant knowledge and found that the overwhelming majority of compounds used in modern medicine traced their roots to plants that ancient peoples had already identified as healing agents. Willow bark for pain and fever, the same molecule we now call aspirin. Certain molds applied to wounds, the same mechanism as penicillin. Ancient humans did not stumble onto these by accident. They observed, tested, and memorized. They built a pharmacopoeia without writing a single word of it down. Fever was not fought. This is the counterintuitive part. Where you reach for something to bring the temperature down, ancient healers often did the opposite. They wrapped the sick in animal skins. They placed them near fire. Because somewhere in accumulated human experience, the knowledge existed that heat was the body's weapon, not its enemy. Modern immunology confirms what they practice by instinct. A fever between 38 and 40 degrees Celsius actively impairs the replication of most bacterial pathogens. Your body knows how to fight. Ancient humans knew to let it. What they could not name, they gave a face. Illness became a spirit. Healing became a negotiation. And this is where modern people make their mistake. They see the ritual and dismiss everything underneath it. But the ritual was never the point. The ritual was the container for the knowledge. The shaman who performed healing ceremonies was also the person who knew which plant to brew, which wound needed draining, which fever needed feeding, and which needed cooling. The supernatural language was the delivery system for biological fact. You carry this history in your body right now. When you feel sick and want to be near people you trust, that is 300,000 years of social healing instinct activating. When your body runs hot and you resist the urge to suppress it, that is ancient immunological wisdom surfacing. When you reach for something warm to drink, something bitter, something that smells sharp and alive, you are doing exactly what your ancestors did in firelit shelters, surrounded by people who would not let them heal alone. You feel it before you can name it. And it turns out, so did they. The difference is they trusted it.